Hey guys, welcome back to the EndingFlix channel. Today we're getting into the 2023 horror movie Five Nights at Freddy's, directed by Emma Tammy. Now this is not a regular horror movie. This story follows a security guard who, because he's desperate for money, takes a night shift job at a shutdown pizzeria. At first, everything feels quiet, almost too quiet. But as the nights go on, the real truth of that place starts to come out. The robotic animatronics inside are not just machines. There's something dark hiding behind them, and what happens next ends up changing his life forever. So what is the real secret of this pizzeria? And can he survive this night job? All right, let's not waste any time and jump straight into the story. We open the movie with a security guard working at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Place. He's clearly terrified. He tries to run away, trying to escape the building, but suddenly a shadow appears in front of him. Before he can react, he's dragged into a brutal torture machine. He fights with everything he has, trying to get free, but he doesn't make it. His body is torn apart. Then we meet Mike. Mike lives with his younger sister Abby and works as a security guard at a mall. Even though Mike is still pretty young, he's completely responsible for Abby. He takes care of her on his own. Abby loves to draw. She spends most of her time sketching. She's different from other kids, like she's carrying secrets she doesn't talk about. We also learn that Mike has a sleep disorder. Every time he falls asleep, he has the same strange dream, and every time, the panic pulls him awake before he can rest. At work one day, Mike talks with a coworker about dream theory. He shows him a book called Theory of Dreams. Mike believes in it deeply. According to the book, everything we experience in life gets recorded in our subconscious mind. Through dreams, we can access those memories again. The brain can't tell the difference between remembering an event and actually reliving it. But Mike's coworker doesn't buy any of this. He tells Mike not to take these ideas so seriously. Later that same day, Mike sees a man carrying a child away. Without thinking, Mike attacks him. He beats him badly, believing the child is being kidnapped. But moments later, the truth comes out. The man is the child's father. Because of this misunderstanding, things spiral out of control. Mike is fired on the spot. After this, Mike visits an employment counselor named Steve Raglan. As soon as Steve opens Mike's file and reads his last name, his expression changes. He looks shocked, like he recognizes it, or like he knows something about Mike. After a strange moment of silence, Steve offers him a job as a security guard at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, a place that's been closed down for years. This place shut down back in the 80s after 5 children went missing there and were never found. Mike's job would be simple: clean the place and make sure no one breaks in. But the pay is low, and Mike can't leave Abby alone at night, so he turns the job down. Steve doesn't push. He hands Mike his business card and tells him to call if he changes his mind. Mike heads home feeling defeated. Everything that happened that day keeps running through his head. He's overwhelmed. When he gets inside, he runs into Max. She's his friend and Abby's babysitter. As usual, Abby is in her room, completely focused on her drawings, like the rest of the world doesn't exist. Mike gently tells her to come eat something, but she doesn't want to stop. Later, when Mike sits down on the edge of her bed, Abby suddenly tells him not to sit there. She says that's where her invisible friend is sitting. Mike finds it strange, but he doesn't question her. He just lets it go and walks away. After that, Mike goes to his room and lies down. He's exhausted. It takes only a few moments before he falls asleep, and the dream comes back. In the dream, he's a kid again. He's on a picnic with his whole family. Everything feels warm and happy. People are laughing. For a moment, it all feels perfect. Then everything shifts. Mike turns around and he sees his little brother Garrett being forced toward the back seat of a car. Garrett is struggling. Mike runs toward him, trying to save him. But the closer he gets, the stranger things become. The man taking Garrett starts to blur. His face never comes into focus. No matter how hard Mike tries, he can't see who it is. The next morning, things get even worse. Mike's Aunt Jane shows up at the house. She wants custody of Abby, not because she cares, but because of the money she would get. She tries to manipulate the social worker with her words, but it doesn't really work. The social worker sees through her intentions. She tells Mike that if he wants to keep his sister, he needs to find a job immediately. That's when Mike realizes he has no other choice. He calls Steve Raglan back and accepts the night security guard job. Steve explains that Freddy Fazbear's Pizza has been closed since the 80s. The owner never tore it down because of an emotional attachment. The lighting and surveillance systems are old, barely holding together, but they still work. Mike feels uneasy. He's scared, but for Abby's future, he takes the job. And with that decision, his life slowly starts moving towards something dark and unknown. A place where every night brings something new and unsettling. Once inside the building, Mike starts walking around, exploring the place. That's when he finds an old video and plays it. The video explains what Freddy's used to be. It wasn't just pizza and games. The place had live robotic animals. That's where the name Freddy Fazbear's Pizza came from. These animatronics were fully controlled by technology. They could even talk to customers, which made the place especially exciting for kids. But as soon as the footage shows the robotic animals, the screen begins to glitch. The video distorts and cuts out. That same night, strange things keep happening. Sometimes the security alarm goes off for no reason. Other times, a toy robot suddenly turns on by itself. Mike grows more anxious with every moment. He can't figure out what's really going on in this place. Time passes slowly. Before he knows it, it's almost 3 a.m. Mike falls asleep again and slips back into the same dream. But this time, it's different. As Garrett is being taken, Mike suddenly notices 4 unfamiliar children appear inside the dream. They weren't there before. He's shocked. He asks them if they've seen the person who kidnapped his brother. They don't answer. Instead, the kids suddenly run away. Mike chases after them, and then his sleep is violently interrupted. The security alarm has gone off again. Mike wakes up fast and shuts it down, but by then, morning has arrived. He heads home completely drained. At home, we see Mike talking to Max. He tells her he'll pay her for babysitting soon. Max tells him it's fine. She says she doesn't mind taking care of Abby. In the next scene, Aunt Jane, her brother Jeff, and Max meet to discuss Abby's custody. The truth comes out. Jane was the one who hired Max, not just as a babysitter, but to collect evidence against Mike. Together, they come up with a plan. They'll break into Freddy Fazbear's Pizza and destroy the place. If Mike loses that job too, the court will take Abby away from him. Meanwhile, Mike sees the same dream again. The same children appear. This time, when they try to run, Mike grabs one of them. Suddenly, the child attacks him with a hook. Mike's hand starts bleeding. In that moment, the child's eyes slowly turn black. Mike screams, and his sleep snaps apart. Outside, the park alarm starts blaring. A moment later, Vanessa shows up. She's a local police officer, and security at this place falls under her watch. Vanessa goes straight to Mike. She sees the blood on his hand and helps him right away. As she treats him, she calmly tells him the truth. Most security guards don't last long here. The pay is bad, and over the years, kids have gone missing from this place again and again. She drifts into her memories and says she loved this place when she was a kid. While talking, she leads Mike inside and presses the Showtime button. The animatronics come to life. Freddy Fazbear, Chica, Bonnie, and Foxy step onto the stage and start performing. But it doesn't last. A power issue hits, and the show cuts off mid-performance. Before leaving, Vanessa gives Mike a Freddy pin. She tells him to just do his job and not dig into things he doesn't need to know. When morning comes, Mike walks out with Vanessa, and that's when Jeff and his friends take their chance. They break into Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. They trash the place, planning to pin everything on Mike. If he loses his job, he loses Abby too. What they don't realize is that the animatronics see this place as their home. And the moment they see the destruction, they turn hostile. Carl is wrecking the kitchen when a cupcake inside the fridge catches his attention. While he's distracted, Chica sets a trap. The cupcake suddenly attacks him, and Carl is killed. Hank witnesses this and panics. He runs and hides inside a service room. He doesn't know Bonnie is already in there. Bonnie attacks and kills him, leaving blood smeared across the glass. A short time later, Jeff arrives and sees Bonnie and Chica pushing the cupcake into a vent. He tries to block their path, but as he turns to run, Foxy appears in the hallway. Jeff doesn't make it out alive. Outside, Max is waiting in the car. When no one comes back for a long time, she gets nervous and decides to go inside herself. She sees a child and, without thinking, follows him. The child leads her to Freddy. She leans forward and looks into his mouth. Suddenly, a hand shoots out, drags her inside, and kills her. Later, when Mike gets home, he gives Abby the pin Vanessa gave him. Abby refuses to take it. so Mike puts it in a drawer. Not long after, Abby finds the custody papers. She looks crushed. Mike promises her that no matter what happens, no one is going to separate them. Then the doorbell rings. Vanessa is standing outside, furious. She tells Mike he left the back door of the park open the night before. Someone broke into Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. The police also found Mike's sleeping pills inside the building. Vanessa starts questioning him. She explains that if this robbery is officially reported, Mike will lose his job. She wants the truth. All of it. Mike finally breaks. He tells her everything. He explains how, years ago, he went on a trip to Nebraska with his parents and his little brother, Garrett. During that trip, Garrett was kidnapped. They never found his brother. They never found the kidnapper. Even the police came up empty. Time passed. The trauma never left. Years later, his parents died too. Now it's just him and Abby. Mike tells Vanessa he believes he saw the kidnapper that day, but the trauma erased his memory. That's why he takes sleeping pills every night. He's trying to reach that buried memory through his dreams. He's trying to find his brother's kidnapper. Vanessa listens in silence. Then she tells him to leave. She throws away all of his sleeping pills and makes one thing clear. No matter what happens, he cannot sleep at Freddy's. He has to stay alert in that place. Before heading to work that night, Mike tries calling Max over and over. She never answers. We know why. Max is gone. With no other option, Mike brings Abby with him to Freddy's. When they arrive, Mike starts cleaning up the mess Jeff and his friends left behind. After that, he sets up a safe spot for Abby inside the security room and puts her to sleep. He makes it very clear she is not to leave the office. But close to midnight, while Mike is fast asleep, Abby hears a child's voice calling her name. She tries to wake Mike, but he doesn't respond. Eventually, Abby follows the voice on her own and walks deeper into the park. She ends up standing in front of the robotic animals. She speaks to the bear, telling him to come out. She says she knows he's the one who called her, and, shockingly, the bear actually steps forward and stands right in front of her. At the same time, Mike is dreaming again. He sees one of the children, and this time he tells him he knows the truth. He knows the child is one of the kids who disappeared from the park years ago. Mike asks him for help finding his brother's kidnapper. The child asks what he'll get in return. Without hesitation, Mike says he'll pay any price. But suddenly, Abby's scream echoes through the dream. Mike wakes up instantly. The last thing he sees in the dream is the child drawing a picture of a rabbit-like animatronic. Mike rushes out and sees Abby surrounded by the robotic animals. He panics. He grabs a chair, ready to attack the bear, but Abby stops him. She tells him everything's fine. She says they were just playing. She says they're her friends. Slowly, Mike starts to notice something impossible. The animatronics are moving on their own. They're talking to Abby. At first, he thinks someone must be controlling them remotely. He checks. There's nothing. No controls, no signals. Mike is completely stunned. Then Abby introduces them to him. The bear, Freddy, Bonnie, Foxy, and Gail. By the time morning comes, Mike is deeply unsettled. He tells Abby they're going home. Before leaving, Abby gives Freddy one of her drawings as a gift. She hugs him, thanks all of them, and says goodbye. And, unbelievably, the robots respond. This only makes Mike more uncomfortable. He takes Abby and leaves. Later at home, Mike looks through Abby's drawings. Then one picture stops him cold. It shows Garrett, and it shows the kidnapping. Abby never witnessed that event, so Mike can't understand how she could draw it. When Abby wakes up, Mike asks her about it. Abby says her friends showed it to her, the robots. She also says she's met the same child Mike sees in his dreams. That child asked her to draw it. Mike asks if the child said anything about the kidnapper. Abby says they never talk about him directly. They only keep mentioning a yellow rabbit. She promises Mike that next time, she'll ask. The next night, Mike and Abby return to the park. Inside, the walls are covered with drawings. One of them shows a yellow rabbit standing with several children. Abby immediately runs off to play with her friends. Mike notices something else. Vanessa is there, and she isn't shocked at all to see Abby talking to the robots. That tells Mike everything. Vanessa already knows. Vanessa explains that the animatronics are haunted by the spirits of the children who went missing in the 80s. Just then, Abby comes over and says they all want to build a castle together. Mike feels uneasy, but Vanessa agrees. They stack tables and chairs and build a castle. Everyone sits inside it. After that, Mike and Vanessa head to the storage room to find something for the roof. Vanessa explains that they used to keep tablecloths there for this exact purpose. Mike looks at her and finally asks the question that's been building the whole time. What is really going on here? Vanessa tells Mike that he never should have brought Abby here. She says he's the one who pulled her into all of this. Mike pushes back. He says there's something deeply wrong with this place, and he feels like being here is getting him closer to his brother. He believes the truth about the kidnapping is buried here. That only makes Vanessa more anxious. She warns him again to stay away from all of this. That's when Mike notices something strange, a machine that looks like a mechanical suit, almost like a uniform. He asks about it. Vanessa immediately tells him to stay away. She says performers used to wear it back in the day, and that it's extremely dangerous. To prove it, she sticks a piece of wood inside the machine. The screws snap shut instantly, shredding it. Mike freezes. When they step back out, Abby is still playing with the robots. Then she accidentally touches Freddy's guitar. She gets shocked and collapses. Abby passes out for a few seconds. When she comes to, Vanessa snaps at Mike. She tells him Abby can never come back here again. Now Mike is truly scared. The next day, he calls Aunt Jane to watch Abby. Abby hates it. She doesn't want to stay with her, but Mike doesn't stop. He goes straight back to the park. Once there, he takes sleeping pills and falls asleep again. But this time, the dream changes. He sees his parents. He sees Garrett. They're alive. They're safe. They talk to him. They tell him to stay with them. Mike doesn't understand what's happening. Then the child's voice speaks from behind him. Mike turns and sees the other children too. The child says they know what Mike wants. He wants to change the past. He wants to save Garrett. They tell him they can make that happen, but there's a price. Mike has to give them Abby. Mike refuses. He says his parents and brother can't come back. He only wants to find the kidnapper. The child tells him he's lying. That deep down, Mike wants to stay in this dream forever. Mike looks at his parents and Garrett. They tell him Abby would be happy with the robots. For a moment, Mike almost gives in. Then he thinks of Abby. He says no. The dream starts breaking apart. Everything fades. The children attack him. Mike wakes up screaming. He's trapped, locked inside the same torture machine from the beginning of the movie, the one that killed the first security guard. Around him, he sees bodies. Max, the others, all dead. The machine starts to close in. Somehow, Mike manages to escape at the last second. At the same time, Abby is at home with Aunt Jane. Then there's a knock at the door. Freddy is standing there, and the same child is with him. They say they've come for Abby. Abby doesn't know they've already attacked Aunt Jane. She goes with them. Mike comes to, injured, with Vanessa by his side. She tells him she found him outside the park, in bad shape. Mike finally tells her everything. He asks who these spirits really are, and why they want Abby. Vanessa finally tells the truth. The park belongs to her father, William. William is the yellow rabbit. He pretends to befriend children, then he kidnaps them and kills them. He stuffs their bodies into the machines, trapping their souls inside. That's what the animatronics are, and now they want Abby too. Vanessa admits she knew all of this. She just never told Mike. Now she says there's only one thing left to do: save Abby. She hands Mike some weapons. Mike asks her to come with him. Vanessa says she can't. Inside the park, William controls her too. Mike has to go alone. Inside, Abby is being entertained while the child quietly leads her away. Mike crawls in through the vents, searching for Abby. Freddy, Foxy, and Bonnie are performing on stage. Mike shocks them with electricity, knocking them out. Elsewhere, Gale tries to force Abby into the deadly suit. Mike arrives just in time and disables Gale too. Mike apologizes to Abby. He promises he's going to get her out. They try to run. Then Foxy attacks. Suddenly, someone grabs Mike. It's the yellow rabbit, William. He's alive. He's still controlling the children's souls. He reveals the truth. He's the same counselor who gave Mike the job, Steve Raglan. He admits he kidnapped and killed Garrett and all the other children. He orders the animatronics to attack Mike and Abby. Just as they're about to strike, Vanessa appears, and she pulls Abby to safety. Now another truth comes out. Vanessa was part of William's plan from the start. William was killing children, and Vanessa was covering up his crimes. But now she turns on him. She raises her gun and aims it at her own father. In the chaos, William attacks Abby. That's when Mike realizes something important. The animatronics have forgotten who really killed them. They don't remember that William was the one who murdered them. But Abby can remind them. So Abby starts drawing. In her picture, a yellow rabbit is killing all 5 children. The moment the animatronics see it, everything comes rushing back. The memories hit them at once. They turn on William. They drag him away as he screams. Mike and Abby escape. They take the injured Vanessa with them. A few days later, we see them again. Mike and Abby are safe. They're happy. Vanessa is recovering in the hospital. In the final scene, one of the children's spirits locks William inside the rabbit suit. He's badly injured, trapped, and left there. And that's how this horror story ends. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit like. Let me know in the comments which new horror movies you're waiting for. I'll see you in the next one.